Hello, welcome to TrueHoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
I'm a little tired, but I'm okay. I watched a lot of film this weekend, a lot of games. I've got a signed poster from Poe behind me that I haven't enough time to hang on my wall. I'd like to hang. He deserves to be on the wall. And I ended up watching Team USA and Spain and Canada
Under 19?
and a few other teams in the U19 FIBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got no more games today, but I think USA plays again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I got to get started preparing for Summer League and whatever. Just like, can we take a time out here?
For those of you that don't know, the NBA draft concluded last week. And for most of us in the basketball world, we kind of downshift a little bit, although free agency is coming up. So we're going to start dealing with all that. But this is David's busiest time of the year because he had players get ready for the draft. He's got new guys he's trying to get ready who didn't get drafted, who may want to get on the Summer League, who may want to get in a pro league somewhere else. So he's very, very busy right now. And then he's got to go to Summer League and talk to people and see what's happening. So it's, listen, you can have a vacation in August sometime, maybe. Sometime
Late July. Late July is what we've got. And by the way, I don't plan on talking to many people in Summer League. I'm not going to have a choice. Some of my friends are listening, I'm sure. Yes, I will have dinners and some meetings and ever, but I have a lot of players I want to see, a lot of players I'm friendly with, I want to watch. Yeah. And so I was telling someone today who's going to be there, I said, just text me if you want to hook up for lunch or dinner or just watch a game together. I'm going to do my best to not sit with the media on the practice court and just find a quiet corner somewhere. And then the games in the big arena, it's easy to do that because it's easy to do it there because there's so many seats. However, I have to go back and forth a lot, so that's going to be a pain in the ass. But whatever, I'm happy to get a chance to go.
David's going to be hiding and running along the strip, going from arena to arena. Don't worry, he'll have a little cavalcade following him. Wait, I just saw Thorpe. There he is. Go.
Well, it's just I've been doing this a long time now. I have a lot of friends to see and a lot of players to watch. It's just busy. And I got to watch film. I'm writing an article this week about the best young units, the best young cores in the league. So I got to start watching tape on that tonight and tomorrow. This is a busy time. You got to catch up on all these players.
Yep. Real quick, without giving away anything from the article. Yeah. I mean, I was just looking at, because this is what we do. You use dunks and threes a lot. So the bottom 4 teams last year in net rating.
Yeah.
No surprise. The people who picked at the top of the draft.
Spurs, Pistons, Rockets.
And Hornets. Correct.
And Hornets.
Those are the 4 worst teams. I'm like, even those teams, right? They got young talent. I mean, especially now after the draft. So the talent's there. Now, are they going to be any better this year? We'll see, right? Coaching and what the players do and all that. Well, David has some ideas about who might be pretty good and better than we might think. But talking about the draft, David.
Yeah.
What, if anything, stood out to you? Because when you watch the draft, you see it a little bit differently than most people when they watch. Anything surprise you any team did, either positively or negatively, about what happened last Thursday?
I didn't love the coverage.
That I know.
I don't. The interviews I think are weird. They let these players. They just got drafted. Let them celebrate.
Yeah.
I heard JJ. I think JJ Redick's fantastic. I loved him as a player. Mm-hmm. I still sometimes watch his YouTube, the video of his state championship game, just because it inspires me. They guarded him with like 11 guys. It didn't matter. He was so good. But he made a comment late. I think he was exhausted personally. That basically you need a top 3 pick to win a championship.
You vehemently disagree with that.
Well, I mean, I don't have to disagree. The evidence is overwhelmingly not the case, and he knows that. He's super smart. He's just exhausted and tired. It's the idea behind it I get, but it's just not reality. Look at these last winners all the time. So separate from that. And then my mom, who watched it on a different, I guess it was on 2 channels, ABC and ESPN. I didn't know that. She was watching, it wasn't my mom, it was my wife, because I knew some guys in the draft and she wanted to see how they did. And she was texting me that one of the players got drafted and all she saw was Stephen A. Smith talking the whole time, not mentioning who got drafted. And I told her, you're watching the wrong telecast. She said, who knew there were 2? I didn't know. I just assumed when she told me that. So separate from that, I mean, we like to draft young dudes that can't play yet. Some of them will be good, We don't really like drafting the older guys too much. Jaime Jaquez, Chris Murray, Omax Prosper, maybe the kid Kobe Brown. What's his Brown from Missouri? Last pick of the first round. Not many older players. And I wonder if that's going to change. And we should probably talk about that now a little bit. I said this morning in our call, is it possible that teams who recognize we've got to have a rookie slot and add a player that can help us because we can't afford anybody else, do we not take the project at 18, 20, 23, 24 and take the guy that we think is more ready to help us at least by the end of the season? I'm wondering where that's going to be, and not for a lottery pick necessarily or a top 5 pick even, but it's just something to keep watching for next, going forward.
I think teams are definitely thinking about that right now. This player was picked in the lottery, but it was the same for him, and we'll talk about him later when it comes to free agency. Cam Johnson was 24 when he was drafted, 23, right?
So was Chris Duarte.
Right, and I mean, he knew how to play and was a net positive player from day one, right? Like, so look, there's value in that, right? Of course, we all love the idea of the tantalizing upside. Who doesn't? And also, let's be honest about something. When GMs draft players like that, it gives them a longer rope to keep their job, right? Because it's like, well, he's only 18. I don't know. Like, you got to give me some time to get the right players around him and develop and this, that, and the third, and maybe. But it's an area that we talk about all the time on this show. But are you guys any good at what you're doing to actually get them to be that good? The evidence is what it is. For me, I look, Wemby, of course, stole the show. Did you see, by the way, when he was interviewed, his sister was on a hot mic, but she was speaking in French. So unless she spoke French, you didn't know what she was saying. She asked her brother, not Wemby, their other brother, "Can you see my breasts?" Because she had a low cut, but she said it in French, so nobody caught it in the moment unless she spoke French. But who knows, whatever. But anyway,
she plays too, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. She plays for Monaco. Yeah,
she's
in
a pro already.
She's a pro already.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, she's like 6'1"ish, 6'2". She's tall.
He's really tall.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he's 7'4".
You see him, 7'5" maybe. You see him standing next to David Robinson.
I did, and Tim Duncan and all those guys. I know it was crazy.
He makes him look short.
It was crazy. I mean, he's.
I'm glad that those guys see what it's like.
Yeah.
I had a girl I grew up with, Jarod, from 3rd grade on. Literally, she was at my bar mitzvah in 1978. We were already friends for 5 years at that point, whatever. And not quite 5 years, but close. And we didn't talk to each other for a long time after high school. We went to different colleges, whatever. And we connected maybe one of our reunions. Sweet girl named Trisha. And she joked about I just always thought you were so short because I was really short when she knew me until late in my high school career. And she had already transferred out of school at that point. I got my sophomore year of high school. And she saw me on Facebook all the time, though, next to all these fucking
tall
giants.
NBA players.
And she's 5'4". I'm 8 inches taller than her. And she was like, "What in the hell is going on?" I said, "Trisha, those are all 6'10". I'm taking pictures with,
They're monsters.
I'm not short anymore. You remember me as short, but I grew a lot in between. So I'm glad David Robinson and Tim Duncan see what it's like.
Yeah. Hi, shorties. How's it going?
Right.
And Manu was there. And, we've said it before, and it's worth saying again. To me, San Antonio is just a wonderful place for him. We like the infrastructure there, Pop, everybody. And then the sort of lineage they have of great big men, obviously, but also understanding, quote unquote, Spurs culture and all that and what it means. And I think he's got great people there. And from what we know, and, people are close to him, he's got a good team around him as well. And everything that he seems to be doing has prepared him for this moment. I know for you loved when he started crying when he got drafted. That definitely got you, I'm sure.
Yeah. A lot of the players, I was really so happy to see that. Did you ever watch a TV show called Parks and Rec?
I've seen episodes, never all in its entirety.
So it's my kids and my brothers have told me run, don't watch to see it. When I'm finally starting to watch it, and the character Ron Swanson is one of the all-time great characters. But he plays the manly man of the 70s, so to speak, right? Even though he's actually a very loving, decent person for sure. On the show, the character he's playing is both. Yeah. He's very libertarian, whatever. And that's not healthy for anyone to not show emotion ever. Victor knew he was going number one forever. a year ago, he was projected to number one. I looked it up a year ago. A year ago, draft day, he was looked at number one. I just love that it hit him. I mean, it's really life-changing. I talked to a player this morning about his press conference today. And like, it's still surreal for him. Like, he didn't know if he'd go first round or not. He really didn't know. And so I thought that was great. I will tell you, though, that I'm not sure the Spurs are any good at what they do. I know they used to be. We'll find out. I think Victor's team is terrific. Team Wembenyama, the agency, the agents, the things he's saying, skinny up.
Yep, love it.
Yeah. I'm very impressed. And I know one of the guys involved, very impressed with what that, and quite frankly, that is where we have to go now. The players have to have their own pit crew. It's always been the case. Luol Deng had his own strength guy. Joakim Noah had his own strength guy. It's something I would recommend. Some guys just do it in the offseason. Some players do it year-round. I recommend year-round. If you're with a team that covers everything, great. Right. But don't ever assume they will. Every team is different. This is not a smooth quality control all across 30 teams. It's just not the case.
No, well, we know.
And you've got to take care of yourself. And if you don't, because you're with the Spurs, let's say, or OKC, and you love everything you got, well, you might get traded yesterday.
Right.
And now what are you going to do? Now you're going to try to find your pit crew? No, you need the pit crew in place throughout your career.
For sure.
To include a chef and everything else. Teams are getting better at it for sure. It used to be nothing but pizza and hot dogs and whatever and fried chicken.
Get in the cold bath. There you go.
And in planes after games. I used to go in the locker room and see all sorts of garbage. Much better now. Yeah. I remember early on in maybe mid-2000s, maybe mid-2010, maybe 2012, whatever, Denver had a chef. And he would make breakfast and lunch for the guys during the season. And they would take doggy bags home in a sense. I thought that was super smart.
Yeah.
They're all doing it now.
Most teams do that now. They're all Brooklyn and a lot of the teams now have each player has their own smoothie concoction that works for them, right? And for Victor, very important because he's also, even in the NBA world, he's abnormally tall, right? So whoever his physio and strength guy is, they know how to work with him and his particular long limbs, and so it's very specific. So this is what you got to do. I mean, it's your body. You have to. This is how you make your money, my friends. And I know, David, you are a loving guy, but you were also, I'm sure, gave your guys who got drafted some sobering advice. Yay, congratulations. Now get to work. All right?
Yeah.
The work begins now.
I did. I told them before the draft, but the guys that I know, if the draft is one night, celebrate, don't celebrate, depending on what happens. You're going to wake up Friday morning and you better get your mind straight. Everyone wants your job and they want your minutes. They want your money. What do you, it's a very, what are you doing lately kind of thing in this league. And, you better have a good plan to get in the rotation or you'll be out of the rotation.
Sure will.
And you'll probably get your chances to get in the rotation. You better take advantage of it or you'll be back out of the rotation again until you get to be a Kevin Knox top 10 pick, who is hanging on for dear life in the NBA. Better than nothing. He'll make good money, but he had such promise. More than a few guys get that every year. And it always makes me sad, but you have to do that or you're going to get smashed.
Yeah. The league will humble you, right? As you often say. Yeah. Talking about Victor, one of the great things you said, and you said this back in January, February, when we were talking about Victor.
Whenever they played Scoot.
Yeah. October. Yeah. Back then. And, everyone had the urge to, because he showed highlights that he could handle and do different things. The natural comp was Kevin Durant, right? Kevin Durant, which is a primary ball handler, initiating scorer from the wing. And you said back in October, run him off screens like Duncan Robinson, pin downs like JJ, those kinds of things. Let him shoot, let him cut roads to the rim on pick and roll. Obviously, defensively, you can use him that way. And I thought it was great because even though it's smart and we trust your basketball brain, that's a zag because most people were zigging, right? Most people do the obvious thing, which is, no, you can do that thing like Kevin Durant. And, I think for you to be able to say that about Victor was smart. And I think for other players in this draft, for all the rookies, right, these teams may have to resist and fight some urges to do things that may not necessarily be good for the player in the long run.
I mean, it's a complicated formula, Jarod. If you allow him to try to play like Kevin Durant, he's going to fail a ton. And maybe he can handle that. Durant did. Durant sucked his first 3 years in terms of winning possessions. he put up numbers, empty numbers, bad teams, the first year especially. That doesn't mean it'd be smart for Victor. He's more talented than Kevin Durant if you look at all the things he can do at this age, of course. Yeah, he's not better than Durant now and may never be as good as Durant. He's got a chance to be, and there's like 11 people in the history of, in the last 20 years you can say that about. Durant's that good. I said at the time I thought they should play Victor like Duncan Robinson coming off screens and Rudy Gobert defensively, but also pick and roll. He's good at he's a good pick and roll player. He's 7'5", but he's athletic and pretty agile. But then I started thinking, and I wasn't the first one to say this, a little Jokic because he can dribble the ball. Let him I don't mind him bringing the ball up in transition. If he gets a rebound, he can push it. I have no problem with that. What I want to see him do is throw it to him at 25 feet, let him go kill. I don't think that's the smartest way to use him. Let him play without the ball. Let him learn how to do the other things in time. I want him to be successful early. He's carrying not just the weight of a country in a sense, but the guy is so much more famous globally than Durant was. Durant was famous locally, America. That was it. Man, people overseas don't know Texas. Right. They know the state. They don't know Texas, Texas A&M, none of that. UTEP.
None of that means anything to them.
Texas Tech, TCU. It's all Texas to them. Just like Florida, Florida State, Central Florida. It's all Florida. It's different. Victor is very famous. And I want him to not be worn down by the weight of those expectations and failures. And so if they just keep it a little simpler. And by the way, Devin Vassell is very talented. Kellen Johnson is good. They've got some other young players that are trying to develop. Malachi Branham, the Blake Wesley kid from Notre Dame.
Sochan.
Jeremy, of course, who's there. They're allowed to play basketball too, of course. So I'd like to see them just incorporate Victor into a strategy where he can have some early success and build on that instead of just let him do whatever he wants like Seattle did with Durant in year one and hope for the best. I don't think that's sound strategy for him.
And Dom Barlow, of course, too, on the Spurs.
Yeah, Dom's a two-way player. Well, he's a free agent. Two-way players.
So he might. Okay.
He's got options.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see what I have no idea San Antonio is doing, but I don't know how teams haven't snapped up right away if anyone's paying attention, and that matters because we'll talk about overtime elite in a minute. He was the first. He's super. If he was in this class and didn't go in the draft last year, he's a top 10 pick also, based on talent. He's super talented. So yeah, Spurs have a lot of guys. I like Trey Jones still there. I think.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys. So when we're talking about ranking the best young core groups, they'll be my number one. There's no mystery.
Right. Well, with
Victor's good. Yeah, and I like the other pieces. But yeah, they've got some work to do still.
And so that's really a lesson for all the teams, right, David? Give them sounds simple. Give them an opportunity to succeed, right? Like this league, they're going to fail enough in this league. It's hard to fucking win and play winning basketball when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. But give these rookies a chance to succeed, right? You said so to me before, don't give them the whole house. Give them the shoe.
Give them a shoe. Give them the shoe. Nice little shoe. Yeah. I was just going to say that. Yeah. Thank you for remembering that. Right. I guess there's other ways to develop. It's the only way that I know. Starting, I've said this many times. I've coached against some high school coaches in my career that were better than a lot of the NBA coaches I've seen. I've also coached against a lot of terrible ones, to be fair. The best coaches always have a plan. It doesn't mean they have to adopt my plan. You're allowed to have your own plan. But mostly I've noticed players succeed when they're having success, right? It sounds silly.
It's true.
But hard to succeed when you're not having success. And Victor isn't going to be great. I'm sorry. If you let him try to be Kevin Durant, well, then Jrue Holiday can guard him. He won't score like Kevin Durant.
Correct.
Doesn't mean he won't score, but it won't be that way. So now you want to put Jrue Holiday on him and he wants to play Rudy Gobert or Duncan Robinson offense, that's a problem for Jrue Holiday and a lot of the other guys. Those are hard things to do too that I think he can do somewhat successfully. Really focus on defense for him would be good. All these rookies need to do that. Find a way to get in the rotation. He'll start, Victor will. And let him just try to you just first of all, you shoot better when you're feeling good about yourself, in my opinion. Normally, if you're doing everything else bad, you don't shoot well. Typically, the better shooters, Buddy Hield might be one of the aberrations. There's a few. They're just young, conscious chuckers. That's not how Victor plays. Right. And there's nothing wrong with J.R. Smith and Buddy Hield, Jordan Clarkson. one of them on a team is nice.
Two or
because three? They always expect they're throwing darts.
Always.
Yeah, 2 or 3, you could be in a lot of trouble because they're going to keep chucking.
Mm-hmm.
That's Marcus Smart's problem.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't think he's ever cold, and yet he keeps missing shots. So yeah, I think San Antonio gets it. We'll find out though. I don't know for sure. I am not here saying they definitely have it because they once had it.
Right.
You have to stay relevant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
let's see.
And it's been a while. A pair of twins, and twins are something you know a lot about, as you have your own set of wonder twins, as you and your wife famously call them. The Thompson twins drafted 4th and 5th, which, like, I mean, what are the odds, right? That like the
Morris twins went 13, 14.
You think it's
not 4 and 5?
You think it's a weird psychological thing, or it's like, shit, the one's gone. We gotta pick the other one now. Like, I mean, it's so weird, right? Like,
I do think it's weird.
Like, it's just,
I do,
right? Because look, we have no idea how good either of them are going to be, but as of right now, most people project Amen to be considerably better than Asor. Yes,
most people think that. Yes, not everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I have no idea.
Well, and that's fine. Like, we need time to see everything, let it all play out, what have you. But none of that actually matters right now. We talked about on Monday with Overtime Elite and the lack of competitive games. But again, irrelevant. Houston said 4. Amen, you're my guy. Detroit said 5. Asor, you're our guy. And I was reading the New York Times piece, something very cute. And I'll read a couple quotes about them. And I know this will warm your heart too, David, as a dad of twins. It'll be a bittersweet moment when we get drafted, Amen said. It's something we've prepared our whole lives for, but it means we'll be apart for the first time in our lives. We keep acting like everything is normal, and we're going to stay together like this forever, but it's going to be over in 2 days, 23 hours, and 18 minutes. And this was a couple days before the draft.
Yeah.
And it sort of said, the longest we've ever been apart is 2 days. I went to Florida last year, and he stayed in Atlanta. He called me like 30 times. And there's all these like little cute things, but I'm like, yo, with sports, we do this whole like macho jock culture, blah, blah. He's going to be some sad moments when your twin's not right there next to you, because in many ways, that's been your security blanket since the womb, right? It's me and this other dude right here, and we got this thing locked down, but now it's you and somebody else. And I will want to point out, very nice of Houston and Detroit. They let both brothers attend the other's press conference. So whoever delayed theirs so that one could fly to the other, and the other team is allowing the one to fly to go watch the other one's press conference. And I thought that was a very nice gesture by both teams to, let the brothers know that, no, we know it's important to you that you guys, spend time together.
Yeah, they did not grow up in the Thorpe house. Now, to be fair, my kids are boy-girl, so not identical. I coached the Morris twins for pre-draft for some time, and one of my favorite memories of that experience was I always thought Marcus was the better player. I didn't understand why people thought Markieff was better. He was a fine player. I thought Marcus was more of a guard and a 6'8" body. That's always interesting. But Marcus was the alpha of the two. I have no idea what it's like now. They were 20 years old, whatever. But Markieff always sat in my front seat when I drove him around, and Marcus in the back seat. And one of the sweetest things was Marcus said to me one day, we were driving, the three of us, and Marcus said, like, it was just a sweet voice. He said, Coach Thorpe, do you think it's possible we could be drafted by the same team? It was so nice. Yeah. I really liked that. And I don't remember what I said. Probably, no. But when we raised our kids, we never once dressed them alike. Again, they're boy girl. But we also really wanted them to be in different classes. We wanted them to build their own identity. They're together enough as it is. Now I've been very close friends with identical twins also, and it's much more like the Thompson twins. I would have said, I don't need them to go to each other's press conferences. It's time to be grown-ups now. Like, you're being paid a lot of money. The twin stuff's over. When you're together, you're together. You'll call each other all the time. That's fine. At some point, you have to separate. It'll be after the press conference now when they have to separate some. They'll be in Vegas together for a little bit. That'll be cool. They should I think they should play some tricks on these other teams. I think that'd be really funny.
Muslim probably wouldn't even know. Show up with the other one's jersey?
Yeah. When I've had twins, when I've coached twins, and I've gone to school with twins, obviously, too, identical. Once you know them a day or two, they're as obviously different as you and Henry. But to the naked eye, they look the same to me right now because I don't really know them. And listen, they've got a steep learning curve, Jarod. They have a steep learning curve. My understanding from talking to people who are very close with them, they are in love with the game. They are all business. Overtime Elite really values players like that in their system. So for all the flaws they have, that is not a flaw, that they have quality people like that. And but still, they don't know a damn thing about basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they are long. They're not how long they are. I don't remember their wingspan. They're tall and they're athletic.
Yes,
really
very
athletic. I tweeted this, or I wrote this when I watched men play. My first thought was Scotty Barnes.
Yep.
More athletic than Scotty, even, but similar.
Scotty's very athletic.
He tested like top 3 in the combine. That's great. But Scotty played at Montverde, and before he went to Montverde, he went to university, and they made the state finals too, I believe, and probably lost to Montverde if I remember right. So the guy went to like 2 national championship and a state finals as a high school player.
Played for Leonard Hamilton.
And then he went to for a year in the ACC. Yeah, there's not the same as overtime elite. Not even close. So there's a steep learning curve there. They've got a lot of Houston and Detroit have a lot of work to do. But guys can get better. But there's no reason why they can't.
The same rule applies to them, right? Give them the shoe, not the house. Let's give them the shoe. So in Houston,
I think so.
What are we thinking? Jalen Green?
I mean, they drafted Cam Whitmore,
right?
Also, they've got a bunch of guards. They have a bunch of young talent.
A lot of young guards in this team.
And I'm worried. I think they'll trade. I think someone's going to get traded. I really do. And by the way, they might get James Harden.
I feel like James is going back to Philly. Like I can't.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Nothing's definite.
No. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he wants to get paid. So he could be in Houston. And then who knows what they'll do, by the way. I don't think he'll want to get paid, and then he'll want some good players around him.
And I love James Harden, as do you. But if those guys want to get better, playing with James Harden ain't gonna get them better.
That would not be good. No. It's like taking a really smart kid in 7th grade math and asking him to work with a physicist.
Right.
It's not fair to the physicist.
No.
Yeah. Unless he's a teacher with James Harden, he's a player, not coaching right now. So I do think both franchises for those twins, it's incumbent on them to build out a good foundation of what do we want to get done this week, and let's really try to check some boxes off. First of all, will be terminology. I doubt they have NBA terminology. None of these college guys do, but some of them have more than others. And then how do we make sure that their routine matches the routine we want them to have now they're actually playing against great players everywhere. And then on from there. All these teams have to do something kind of similar. But I think it's more specific to the Thompson twins just because it's something that's going to be really artificial. They've just never done it before.
And I think with actually with both of them, because Monty's in Detroit now, they got a guard. And so to me, and they both said this in that New York Times piece, what's the one thing you got to work on? They both said shooting like in sync. So they know that that's an area of the game that needs to get better.
Oh, they're terrible shooters.
So they know that. But defensively, I'll tell you what, they'll let you stay and work on your shooting. But if you ain't guarding, both those coaches will be like, you're not playing. You have to guard.
And they have upside defensively for sure.
They do.
Yeah. They're really quick, which is very helpful. Very helpful. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the Summer League. I hope they're playing on the big court so it won't be so jammed in there.
I hope they play each other. I hope the Rockets.
I have the schedule. I
didn't
look and see. Yeah. I wonder if they did that.
Why not? I mean, the NBA loves doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. I didn't look through it. Yeah. It's funny.
No, it's look, we wrote about it. Even Victor, you're not, this isn't one player. And now we're going to be all of a sudden. No, like these guys got to learn some shit. Some of them way more than others. And it's going to take some time. But as David said, if the team has a plan and you understand what your plan is, and this is what we're going to do, and you're committed to it, and the player matters too, right? We talk about that. They have to want to get good. Like it can't just be, oh, I'm here now, I'm in the NBA, whatever. They got to want to work and get the right coaching. But there's a special opportunity in this league for some of these young guys. But the reality is, David, the numbers show us all of them. It's not going to pan out for all of them, right? We just know that. History and data tells us that. So we'll see in a few years where we're at with all these guys. All right. So the draft ended. Friday starts free agency. Although trades have already happened, so that's going to be ongoing.
And so is some free agent deals.
Yes, and free agent deals.
We got an extension deal for Naz Reid. Yep. But there's deals being done right now behind the scenes.
Deals are being done. And then you have a couple of players who have exceptions in their contracts and they can't be traded until July 7th, but they already know. Well, maybe they don't know, but the agent knows they're already going wherever they're going and just waiting to announce. So I want to start with the Warriors because we were recording the trade went down after we finished Thursday's show. So the Warriors decided to maximize Steph Curry's title window and Jordan Poole and Patrick Baldwin and I want to say draft compensation, maybe not, was sent to the Wizards.
Ryan Rollins
in exchange for Chris Paul and his $30 million salary. Maybe Chris Paul stays there. Maybe he gets moved again in the next deal. I don't know. You know how the internet works. Everybody's putting out the little graphics. Look at this starting lineup. I'm like, you are mad if you think they're going to start Chris Paul, Steph. That's not it. I promise you it's not. Like, look, if he's staying there, he's coming off the bench. And that's even if he's staying there, which I'm not even 100% sure, he's going to stay there. Second thing, Draymond is an unrestricted free agent. But you can sort of surmise that, well, the Warriors have made their bet, right? If they're willing to let Poole go, I have to assume they're going to try to re-sign Draymond. Now, is the number that Draymond wants is having with? We don't know. We'll find out come Friday where they're at with all that. But I think it's interesting, and I do think the Warriors potentially, David, have another move, I think, to make.
Do you know what it's going to be?
I have some thoughts. And look, he is like, oh God, supremely offensively talented player, but has farts and lapses on defense mentally. And sometimes there's something, what are you even thinking, bro?
Are you talking about Cat?
Of course.
Oh.
Because you got to get the salaries to work, right? And Cat's making 36 this year.
And Minnesota needs a guard.
Yes, and they need a guard. And so I'm thinking, Now, where's the Warriors always struggle is not having an actual true 7-footer at center, right? Who can space the floor. Well, the one thing Cat can do is space the floor. That dude can shoot threes. He ain't really great at everything else. He should be a lot better at those other things, but, maybe as with Andrew Wiggins, change of scenery, all of a sudden, you ain't the one option here, my friend. Here's what I need you to do. Hit an open three, box out, rebound. Maybe he can do those things. And as I mentioned, I didn't mention, that draft class that Cat's in 2015, 2016, a lot of those guys are on the last year of their rookie extension. So whatever happens this year, if it doesn't work out, the Warriors don't have to keep them. They can be like, all right, expiring money, see you later, and let them go and sign somewhere else after the season. Again, I'm not reporting this is happening. This is just a thought.
Other people are writing this
in my head.
Yeah, I like, the Warriors just have to get someone that helps them win possessions. Jordan Poole last year was a net negative when he was on the court.
Correct.
You can't have that.
Right. Cat's a net positive, so.
Yeah, you would think so. Jordan Poole was a net positive when they won the championship. Word is he got paid and just kind of lost his mind a little bit. And whatever, but being punched in the head didn't help.
Yeah,
no matter what he did.
And I heard there was some reasons why that made him happen. I don't know how true they are, but whatever.
Right. Still, no one's excusing him for punching the head, but yeah, he may have been acting out of turn. Chris Paul moves the needle in the right direction. They need more help than that, probably, just because the Nuggets are really good. We'll see what Memphis does, replacing Dylan Brooks and getting Ja back and Tyus Jones, who's gone. But yeah, they're. I talked to someone very close to Draymond who said he wants to get paid.
So he wants his money.
We'll see what the Warriors come up with.
So you don't think he's going to give them any kind of hometown discount? And he's like, no,
I have no idea. I actually do think that he might.
Okay.
I do think that he might. I'm not saying he will. I would think that it's possible. And
a discount, by the way, just to be clear, that's not a set in stone thing, right? What you consider discount, what I consider discount are two different things, right? He could say, no, okay, 4 years, and because he is eligible for a max because he made us another millionth All NBA defensive team. So that's Now he may say, okay, they're not going to pay me 4 years and whatever my max is. So maybe I'll take 4 and 35. Is that too much? I don't know. Joe Lacob is going to, billionaires
costing them a lot
of money. And then they don't have to redo Clay's deal, but maybe they should because, he's making a lot of money this year. So it will be interesting. And by the way, on that same token, David, about players from that Cat draft class, your favorite guy on the Warriors, Kevon Looney, he's making 7.5 this year and 8 next year, but next year is only partially guaranteed. Now, I'm not saying he's going anywhere, but
they can't afford to lose him. He's the best player on the team behind Curry value wise.
I agree.
Yeah. That's those guys are. Who wouldn't want Kevon Looney at that price? What is that? I can starting center for $8 million.
That is a win and a half right there.
Yeah. No one's drafting centers. Very few guys got drafted as center. I think 3.
I mean, we talked about it, right? If you're paying centers, and the Nets are gonna have to worry about this with Nick Claxton soon because he played well this year and made an all defensive team. Well, I got to get real money now. You want to pay centers $20 million a year who can't shoot? They're good at defense, can rim run, but that's about it. That new CBA, it's really, teams are gonna have to really start thinking, where's the value, right? Can we lock somebody up to a cheaper rookie deal in that spot particularly? And I don't know. You may not be able to. I look at Miles Turner in Indiana. He's another one,
Pacers.
right? Like, so Turner has got $20 million this year and 19 next year, right? He's part of that same draft class. Like, and he's not on the timeline though with Nembhard and Mathurin.
He's a little bit older than Tyrese, Nembhard, and Mathurin.
Yeah.
27, I thought. Yeah. I do think this trade. They tried to sign Ayton last year.
They did. So
there is some speculation as well that they'll trade him.
Now I wonder, because Turner I think may fit better with the Suns than Ayton right now.
Oh, it's a no-brainer for Phoenix.
But is Indiana like?
It's a brainer.
I was going to say, have they soured on Ayton after watching this year, being like, "Oh, thank God we dodged that bullet"? Because you
just can't be in the business of overpaying guys. I think it's bad business,
Yes, it is.
Daryl Morey figured that a long time ago.
It is.
Don't overpay
It is
players.
actually bad business. Yes. You mentioned Naz Reid, 3 years, $42 million. They already have Rudy Gobert, so this is why we're saying Cat's the logical person that's on the move, because we can't lock up. What is it now? More than that. $90 million in centers. Like
with 3 centers.
That's crazy talk. So Cat's got to go.
Yeah.
Mentioned Golden State. Henry joked about Miami. I was like, you don't seem like heat culture guy to me, but guys can mature, as you always say, and grow up. We'll see. Anything off the top of your head? I know we talked about Memphis, but they don't have anything salary wise to go back.
For Aiden, you mean?
For Cat.
For Cat. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it. I don't think the Knicks need to do that. I thought Mitchell Robinson was really good for them in the postseason.
Yeah, the Knicks were rumored. That was a rumor too.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, another rumor too.
Okay.
CAA guy, and Rose and all them are CAA guys over there. So
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think Charlotte. They've got Mark Williams, who I'm a big fan of. But new owner.
It's true. You're right.
New owners do crazy stuff.
You're right. A-Rod might be like, get him out of here. Let's just no. You're right. And in Charlotte, yeah. I mean,
they've got Hayward and Rozier. They got some money.
Look, a LaMelo Cat 1-5 pick and roll, and now you're talking me into it. That sounds kind of nice.
Well, I think they would. I think their thinking would be, Denver just won a title with very average defense, because in the postseason, when you can really lock in, you can do better. Who cares if they're in the regular season they were average at best? Mm-hmm. There's an argument for that when you're that good offensively.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. Cat ain't no Jokic. I mean, he's very good. He ain't that.
No. Just a better shooter. That's it.
He ain't that. A trade came down, David, while we were. Good God, this league always doing crazy things.
Just now?
Yeah, just now. All right, the Hawks are finalizing a trade to send finally John Collins.
Oh, John Collins. Oh boy, hold on. I don't know what you're going to say.
All right.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I really have
John
no idea.
Collins, who, by the way, seems like he's been in trade rumors since he got drafted. The day he got drafted, he's been in trade rumors.
Yeah.
So it finally happened.
The first time out of 17 attempts he actually got traded.
Yes.
All right, where's he going?
He is going to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and a future second-round pick. So that listen, I don't know what they're doing there. Clearly, it's obvious what they're doing. They're clearing salary cap space for whatever reason. I don't know. Are they going after somebody? And I think this is what we talked about when the CBA got announced, right? Teams are in this slot now where they're like, okay, you mentioned overpaying players. If we are not competing for a title, we cannot have 3 players making a ton of money, because this hamstrings us the rest of the way. And what that's telling me is, because DeAndre Hunter, I believe, already got his rookie extension, if I'm not mistaken. They got Trey, and they have DeJounte Murray, who's either going to be on one or coming up for one, right? So they're like, we gotta unload something here. I like John Collins. Pair him with Laurie. Guess that's kind of nice. I like that.
I mean, they're both power forwards.
Can you move one to the 5? Play small ball?
Walker Kessler.
Right. And neither of them are quick enough to play the 3.
So I think they're not done moving.
Okay, someone's getting moved there. Okay.
Yeah.
Not
Listen,
marketing. John Collins, maybe.
Well, I don't know. If you're Utah, you can really get some young talent.
Now I know what you. Okay, I see where you're going.
Trade both those cats. Get top 3 pick in the draft next year.
Lauri's so good. Oh man,
he is. Yeah, really. He's fairly paid.
Yeah,
you could get a king's ransom.
I like Lauri a lot. All-star this year. Did he win Most Improved? If he didn't, he should have.
He did.
Yeah, he was excellent.
Yeah, they should. Sam Presti should be on their speed dial because they've got lots of picks and some young players. You get
him with Shea right now. Now you're cooking with gas, David.
I think I talked about that in the spring. Yeah,
you are cooking with gas.
That would be my thing. And then hold on to John Collins. Let him score 25 points a game. Right. The only good player on the team. Right. And by the way, they also just drafted Taylor Hendricks, who plays the 4.
Yes,
who's very talented.
So people getting moved. I got it. People are getting moved.
Yeah, you got to do some stuff here, guys. If they wait long enough, someone's going to need a power forward or a big, and then they'll give them some good things for him.
Can Markkanen play?
Yeah, 3.
Is he quick enough?
Yeah, okay. He's tall enough to make up for it.
He definitely is that.
He's really tall.
Can he play 3 through 5? Can he play 5?
Oh, sure.
But you don't want him as your full-time 5. You don't want him banging that much.
No.
Okay. No. But when you
they have Walker Kessler.
But when you downsize though, and you go small, you can make him your.
Oh, for sure. There are teams that should go after him, and he would be mostly a 4 and could play some 5. Yeah.
I mean, I'm being greedy for Warriors fans, but ooh.
Oh, I was saying the same thing.
I'm being very Warriors fans loving me right now.
I don't know if Utah. I mean, Kuminga. They got rid of Ryan Rollins, who I'm super high on.
Rudy.
For who? In Minnesota?
No, for Lauri.
Rudy?
No. You get.
Oh, Looney.
Yeah.
No, I think Utah is better. I mean, it'd be great for Golden State. Utah is better off just trying to get a whole bunch of picks and then a rookie or 2 to put with Walker Kessler's a long-time 5. Yeah. Taylor Hendricks is a long-time 4. Okay. He's a super talented guy that people didn't know because he went to Central Florida just because his mom wanted to both get a scholarship. But he's basically the 3-and-D, the stretch big that everyone wants. Taylor Hendricks is the stretch big that everyone wants. And so now it's just a matter of they got Sexton, they get Trey Clarkson. I mean, they have a lot of talent.
Oh my God, David, this is Jesus. Lauri Markkanen is on year 3 of a 4-year deal. He's only making $17 million this coming season, and next year
you would get a ton for
at 18. It's partially guaranteed. Oh my God.
Yeah, OKC could give you a lot if OKC wanted to.
Yeah,
you could maybe get Giddey.
Yeah,
or Jalen Williams.
Because
they'd have to consider it.
Marketing goes there. You can now OKC now becomes that what we talked about. Well, you can now move up now. Where you're like, no, we're competing for playoffs in the top 4. They're in the West.
If they get Lauri Markkanen and do some other shrewd deals, they're a top 4 team in the West. Yeah, Shea's unbelievable.
Yes, he's excellent. All NBA.
Shea's unbelievable. Yeah, they'd have the back-to-back most improved one. I think Shea won it the year before. I think. Yep. I may be wrong.
I think you did.
I think so though. Yeah, though they'd be talking about cooking with gas. If they got Lauri, again, I said this before. And then they got Chet. So you still got young people coming. It's not like they're old. They would need actually a backup to Chet, and they have one, I'm sure now, because he's not going to play 48 minutes.
And then we got Jalen Williams. I mean, this is
you got to trade some guys. Utah's going to need somebody.
Yeah, you got to give up someone. You're right.
Yeah. Lou Dort's pretty good. Can play him in the postseason as a defender. Have him guard Curry. The way Davion Mitchell did a decent job against Curry for the Kings.
Sure did.
Dort's kind of built the same. So that'd be interesting.
This is, fascinating. Guys, get excited. A couple of the rookies, David, in that 2016 draft class who were at the end of their deals. Porzingis, we already know got traded. Mentioned Miles Turner. Mentioned Looney. D'Angelo Russell, last year of a deal, $31 million. Does he stay in L.A.? Yeah, I think not. And so that expiring might be nice for somebody. And then what do the Lakers get back in return? Obviously players that make up the number, but on longer deals, right? That extend this out a little bit. And that team that gets off of that gets D'Angelo obviously gets cap relief, which is what I think a lot of these teams are going to end up doing. So
the Warriors get D'Lo back.
They could. Who are they sending out to match?
Chris Paul.
Yeah, as much look, Chris Paul's old and all that, but who would I rather have if I'm Golden State? D'Angelo or Chris Paul?
Right. I know. I agree. No, but I was thinking about for the cap relief too.
Oh, okay.
Although Chris Paul will be out also.
Yeah.
Right, he's in his last year.
Yeah. Listen, it's going to be nuts this week coming up to Friday and who does what. We mentioned, David, at the beginning when we were talking about Wemby. World Cup's coming up for FIBA, and Victor and his team have made a decision. He calculated, and he was looking at playing about 170 games in a 24-month span between his team in France. They made the finals over there, playing Summer League and World Cup, and his new season with the Spurs. And I'm sure he figured into, well, what if we make the playoffs? And he's like, okay, that's just too much basketball. And let's also not forget Olympics for Paris in Paris next summer. It was just like, something's got to give.
He's going to carry the flag.
He's like, something's got to give here, right? I can't do all this basketball. So he will not play in the World Cup this summer. And we both agree that that's smart for him. Get ready for the NBA this season. Play a little summer league, probably play a game or two, and then they'll probably shut him down and get himself ready for training camp and all that. But you and I found tremendous value in Eurobasket last year for the aforementioned Lauri Markkanen, Franz Wagner, and I'll even argue not that they needed it to get better, but it was helpful for Jokic and Doncic. Doncic especially because he came into camp not fat and out of shape because he was playing Eurobasket, so that helped. And I was thinking about for us on our side, Team USA, or even other guys on other teams, other world teams, who could use that nice international bump of playing some international ball and like coming back with like, I can do some stuff. Like I'm better than I thought I was, or I knew I was this good. I just showed you guys I can all do this stuff. Anybody come into mind for you right off the top of your head?
Well, first, you probably feel like I do. I struggle to say us when it comes to America.
And you know me. I don't mean us.
I know. Okay. Our moms, well, I can speak for myself. Because my mom was living here when I came out of her. I root for people. I don't care about countries. Right. I really don't. I don't root for terrible countries, and we can qualify for that in a lot of ways. We have some good stuff about us, I will tell you. Mostly good people. Yes. Our laws are suspect right now, but I understand your point. So, yeah, Paolo was a productive rookie. He wasn't a winning rookie.
No.
I think Austin Reeves is going to be interesting to watch. Read off me some of those names.
Yeah, I'm going to give them to you right now. Here's our roster.
You put in the doc.
We have 12 spots, by the way, and we only have 11 filled right now, so one more spot's open. Paolo, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Brandon Ingram, Triple J, Cam Johnson, Walker Kessler, Bobby Portis, and the aforementioned Austin Reeves with one more spot to go.
I mean, you can make a case for all of them have not a chance to be the man on big winners. They've been a man on some not so big winners. Brandon Ingram has had some great playoffs. Tyrese had an all-NBA level season on a bad team. Jalen Brunson has been to the conference finals. He's, he doesn't fit the way America normally wins these games.
No, he doesn't.
He's not that kind of fit. But I also would never bet against Jalen Brunson.
Oh, he's tough as they come.
Yeah, just super smart, figure stuff out so often. When is it anyway? July?
August they start.
Okay.
Yeah. So they'll whenever they finish, and you and I said this before the show. That is not a gold medal winning roster, by the way, folks. Like
I don't think it is. I've not seen the other rosters yet.
True. Let's be fair.
Compared to what we're used to fielding, that's the weakest team we've had in a long time.
And that's what happened.
The last time we fielded a team this bad, it was John Thompson's team. And those were college players.
And so
just being honest.
This is what happens now. Because FIBA wanted to differentiate its basketball World Cup from the football World Cup, they moved it into these non-Olympic years. Well, what that means is our top senior men's national guys are like, well, I'm not playing FIBA World Cup and Olympics back-to-back. So they all sit out FIBA World Cup and they play, which is fine because that means I think
it's great.
Our U25 or whatever talent can do their thing. I think selfishly, this will be great for Jarod. Have him be like,
I was saying the same thing.
We already know Defensive Player of the Year. Can his offensive game translate some more? I think that'll be nice for him. I love it for Austin Reeves. Great out of the pick and roll. I think he'll blossom as well. You mentioned Tyrese and Edwards. All these they're young, right? And a lot of them still have a lot of immaturity in their game, right? So,
speaking of Triple J, that's who Taylor Hendricks is most like.
Ooh.
Shot blocker, 3-point shooter. He's better than 3-point shooter than Triple J was that age. Way better.
Look at that.
Yeah, not the shot blocker he is, but he can really shoot. And he's probably more athletic than Jackson Kicker.
Jackson's pretty athletic.
Yeah, he is. Taylor is pretty quick, springy guy.
Okay.
Jackson's more agile, I think, and tall. Yeah, I could see him playing on Team USA for sure.
I like that.
Because those athletic, shot blocking bigs that can shoot threes, we need those guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's how you win.
Team USA has a kid that I'm involved with. I just know the kid is from Florida. His name is Asa Newell. But very likely a top 10 pick, and he's at Montverde. He's got another year. But he's our best shooting shot blocking big on the under 19 team in Hungary right now, and he's a high school kid. There's 4 high school kids. Team USA has got some talented young players. A kid named Trey Johnson, a kid named Ian Jackson, Asa Newell. Those cats, they barely beat Slovenia yesterday, but they're talented.
We
got plenty of talent coming.
If you're 6'10", super athletic and springy, you better know how to shoot threes and block shots. If you can do that,
and if you can do that, you're a top 10 pick.
Sure enough,
that's what Asa Newell. That's Asa Newell, and that's Taylor Hendricks.
The last thing I want to point out about this FIBA World Cup roster, and it's not to bang on these guys, but it bears mentioning. It would be in any other normal year where they were not in the news for not good reasons. Zion Williamson and John Morant would likely be the two players on this team, and they are not. And look, you guys know me and David and Henry and how we run this. We're not browbeaters and like labeling kids who they are when they're you can grow, you can mature, all that. But we talked about how just because you were once whatever and you achieved something one time doesn't mean that your career in the NBA is set in stone and you're now going to be this great long time super successful. Like, you got to want to do this every day, day in and day out, and commit to the grind and limit things away from basketball that distract you from the task at hand. And for both those guys this summer, I hope some growing up and some maturing happened for them. And, again, I'm not preaching, because at that age, stupid as shit. I did lots of dumb shit. I still do dumb shit now, and I'm way older than that.
They have more money than you.
Correct.
Way more fame.
Right. So, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. But I want them to just, I want it for them, because I like them and I want them to do well.
This is the good context to bring this up. You can call me old school, conservative, whatever. I'm not politically speaking. I don't like how Grady Dick dressed for the draft, unless you want to look like a clown.
You didn't like the ode to Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz?
No, I did not. My old school, call me whatever you want to call me, but I've been around a little bit. Okay, I want them buy a sweet Armani suit, or pick your
designer.
Canali, pick whatever you want. Pick your local guy. Find it. Kansas has a tailor. I promise you,
multiple tailors. I'm sure.
Yeah, multiple tailor. Find a designer. I'm all for that. And the reason why I'm coming to this is exactly what you're talking about. I just saw a video recently of like all the taunts the Grizzlies did all season. And it blew up in their face. As we thought it might. It's the world's best league. These guys are trying to beat your brains in. And not to say you're giving them more motivation. I don't necessarily think you are. They're already motivated to kill you. You're just making yourself, by puffing yourself up, you're neglecting potentially the reality of, I might get my ass kicked here. And that's motivating too. My favorite coaches of my favorite teams, even going back to my high school days, were the guys that would say to me after they won the state, boy, we're glad we missed you. And my team got upset, or we just couldn't beat a better team. You were the one team we thought could beat us, or whatever. I never felt that. I never felt like, we're going to beat those guys. I was afraid of every team. I wasn't afraid to match up with them, but I definitely knew we were going to be in some trouble. That, to me, was fun, is the excitement of, we might get our ass kicked here. And then when you don't, like one of my favorite stories, Jarod, and I'm not going to tell you the story in particular, but of all my narratives of when going in, man, we might get waxed here. But here's the game plan, and you got your team sold on, this is what we're going to do. And you look up at the scoreboard and 3 minutes to go and you're down 1 or up 1.
Like, woo!
And you inside, you never show it, mostly. But inside you're saying, this is all I asked for. Is I thought we might get murdered here. And we are in this thing because we're executing, we're fighting, whatever. And on occasion I would be at my timeout and I'd say to the team, like, hey, remember yesterday I talked about we may struggle to stay in this game. Guys, look at the clock. We're right there. You earned this. Now let's finish it. Whatever. That is proper respect. And so to me, as you said to me earlier regarding the guys that I know in the draft, like here we are. The guys that I know look normal. I don't know if I would pick the color they picked. There's nothing wrong with that. They're allowed to show some expression. I'm old school that way. I get it. But it's just one night. And you accomplish something. You're guaranteed $5 to $10 million for the next 2 or 4 years, depending on who you are, more obviously. No one cares tomorrow. You really don't. The fans do. No one else does. Not in the business. You got to produce. And so you can't let your guard down. That's when you get punched in the mouth. You let your guard down. And so I think in the case of, we know how Ja, the too little bullshit with it. Come on, Ja. Like, all that's over now. You fucked it up. Now you're really going to be scrutinized. You thought there was a microscope on you before. Yeah. You have no idea. You brought that on yourself more than one way. The humble guy that flashed the gun a few times, you almost start wondering what's really going on there. You get the benefit of the doubt, for good or for bad. And we have a lot of racists in the country that hold it against black players more. Shame on them. All these guys are the same. Wake the fuck up. Be humble. And understand that all these other dudes in the league that are really good, they want to crush you. Yeah. And just focus on getting better and surviving that. Go to Vegas. I think I've told you the story once before. DeRozan might have been in his 4th year. He's not playing Summer League anymore. He's in Vegas, but he's on the Team USA Select. Remember they do that? Team USA Select. And I was helping Ed Davis out, and they were teammates from Toronto, and Ed was in Memphis maybe at that point. And he said, Coach, I really want you to meet a friend of mine. I had no idea who I was meeting. No clue. It's 1 a.m. I'm done my last meeting of the day. I tend not to drink when I'm in Summer League. So I'm just drinking iced teas and water all night. He's like, come over to the casino. So I go to Bellagio, wherever he was. I think he was at the Wynn. And there's DeMar playing blackjack, drinking a bottle of water. And I was just so impressed with that. Like, he wasn't a made man at that point.
Right.
He was still coming. And I'm not surprised he's still killing it in the age of 30s. Like he appreciated, like you can let your hair down, but not then. There's a time for it. And I think we let our hair down, the players do, before they've even done anything. They're being drafted on the come, right? On the bet. Very few are, because like Jaime Jaquez he was Pac-12 Player of the Year. A lot of these other guys, no, you were just, you average 12 points a game, but you're young. Yeah. Anthony Black can't shoot. A lot of these guys can't shoot. So Cam Whitmore needed a dose of humility in his draft process, apparently. Really laid an egg in that. Now we'll see what he's got.
No, it's a tale for these guys, right? This is, the league is what it is. It is the best basketball league in the world, as David said. If you aren't humble, the game will humble you. It's just going to happen. I mean, that happens for all of them. LeBron had atrocious NBA finals. Everyone gets it. No one is immune. The best of all time. So don't invite stuff your way, right? When it's going to happen anyway, naturally from the game itself. Don't invite it.
A lot of coaches, Jarod, will say, why are you celebrating? You should have expected this. Like, didn't expect this. My son's graduating a year early in the summer. I don't want him to walk. I'm not impressed that he's graduating. I know it's only 3 years, but he also took a lot of colleges when he was in high school, college classes. He's going to walk because his team wants him to, and the coaches and his mom would like to see it.
I would imagine Chrissy also wants him to walk.
Mom gets my point of view, but also she wins. I don't ever argue that stuff. But we're not going to, we're going to have a nice party at night with his teammates. We're not sending him a trip around the world. Like, a lot of people graduate college, buddy. What have you really accomplished there? Yeah. We're just gonna curb our enthusiasm a little bit. Take it easy.
Max Thorpe, when you get that job that we know what job you do want, give me a call. I got a position for myself that I want. So you just you give me a holler.
Oh yeah. Listen, I'm Jewish. We know how to celebrate. We never know when, as they say in Fiddler on the Roof, you never know when the next pogrom is coming, which is a persecution. We can celebrate now. Our weddings are something to be seen, but pick your spots. Yeah. And for all these young guys, they should be having pictures of Ja and Zion right in front of them. Like, guys, none of you, except for Victor, are as good as those guys, because they aren't. Scoot and Brandon Miller, I'm sorry.
Not as good.
You're not as good as those two guys. I don't think.
Yeah.
Pure talent, I would pick Zion and Ja every day. Only Victor would I pick above them. And I mean, you can go back 20 years and not pick many. These guys are out of this world talents. And lucky enough, young. So let's hope they figure it out.
Absolutely.
But we don't know. At this point, we don't know.
We don't. All right, guys, we will see you later in the week. I have a feeling something will happen in the NBA between now and Thursday. Take care.